what's good? Basically couldn't get jobs and people were white supremacists at the time made films like Birth of a Nation, portraying how black people were lesser than white people. This audiovisual film essay is an experimental piece exploring some of the themes and narrative choices which make a said film a blaxploitation film. I will also touch on how blacks are represented in these films, comparing contemporary films.
Beat me up, Scotty. Beat me up, Scotty.
And blood at the roots.
Listen to him, and you might make it in heaven. Amen.
Black hearted, swinging in the southern breeze.
Some of the first pioneering film producers and filmmakers were William D. Foster, born in 1884, died in 1940. He was the first African-American to found a film production company. Other pioneering black filmmakers were filmmakers such as Oscar Micheaux, who was born in 1884 and died in 1951. He was an author as well as a film director, and he produced over 44 films. Micheaux's films focused on social oppression and the experience when he was young. He created films such as The Homesteader in 1919, Within Our Gates 1920, and Body and Our Soul 1925. Micheaux faced creative challenges from white film producers who wanted to turn his books into films, but they wanted to do so without him. He kind of just pawed them off and did it himself, and he's a name well renowned because of this.
If anything was to happen to me or your mother, you ain't got nobody except your brother. And this goes for him too, but he knows. You don't want to keep coming up with this off-the-wall bullshit about Henry started it.
Initially, I believe the blaxploitation film to be a film which used a completely black cast and director. There are many films such as A Killer of Sheep that do not fall into the category of blaxploitation. This is because these films exhibit black lives in a social realist sense and portray reality as opposed to fantasy. Such an example is also found in Fruitvale Station, which is based on a true story of the Oscar Grant shooting in 2009 by police forces in America.
So bitter after all.
Shot me, bro.
The Black Panther movement was a revolutionary black nationalist organization.
Examiner made a report back here the last Sunday.
The people just turned out. They wanted to help us. They wanted to give us money. They wanted us to come speak. It was this gathering of connection to the Black Panthers that was different to before.
Black Panthers were active between the years 1966 until 1982. Many social issues followed between the white and African American community, including numerous rallies and protests which resulted in violence, injuries, and deaths.
We were making history, and it wasn't nice and clean. It wasn't easy, it was complex.
From Chicago, Illinois, the mighty Charlotte.
Point number one, we want freedom.
We want decent housing.
We want an education for our people. We want an immediate end to police brutality.
People join for all kinds of reasons, but the Panthers have a 10-point platform program that really was sort of like the fundamental sort of organizing tool and orientation tool.
The civil rights movement was basically a Southern movement. So when you had an organization like the Panthers, who were taking on things like housing and welfare and health, that was stuff that people in the North could relate to and rally behind.
Our attack was not only against white supremacy, but it was also about capitalism. We actually thought that the way in which capitalism created a working class that was kept absolutely destitute, that was wrong.
So
We took the position that in order for us to be free, that system had to be dismantled. We could not be free in a system that had oppressed us in the first place.
The Panthers didn't invent the idea of black is beautiful. People had started wearing afros and dashikis. But one of the things the Panthers did was that urban black is beautiful. And that look just blew people away.
If you were a young black man living in the city anywhere, you wanted to be like this. You wanted to dress like this, you wanted to act like this, you wanted to talk like this, you wanted to be this.
It's a standard of aggressiveness, of militance, of just forcefulness, that the sort of standard we haven't had in the past.
But figuratively speaking, you're not about to become a Panther.
No, not today or tomorrow at any rate. Maybe the day after.
Aesthetically, the Black Panthers influenced character types of hyper-masculine black characters in blaxploitation films.
This brother here, myself, all of us, were born with our hair like this, and we just wear it like this. Reason for it, you might say, is like a new awareness among black people.
This was a revolutionary time. 50 countries in the world gained their independence in the decade before the founding of the Black Panther Party.
Got a sweet back.
Consequently, the Black Panther movement, as well as the Civil Rights movement, had a large influence in the development and creation of these blaxploitation films of the 1970s. Issues to do with the racial and sexual oppression and also segregation are highlighted and made visibly apparent by the black filmmakers.
Who are those two strangers?
That nigger? I think I heard his lackey call him boss.
He's a bounty hunter, Miss Pruitt, here looking for Jed Clayton.
America has a tainted history as far as racial tensions between black and whites go. Films such as Sweetback were revolutionary in their nature, as they showed for the first time the black underdog fighting back against the corruption within the system.
Remember me? Like the way you died.
Django is a film with a white director who highlights the use of protagonists becoming almost like a superhero, who critiques question Tarantino's intentions, as Django is initially saved from slavery and told by a white German. Sweetback is the embodiment of the struggle encapsulated into a hyper-masculine character. Sweetback is renowned for his character as an unlawful renegade, comparable to that of Boss Nigger in 1975, directed by white director Jack Arnold, and Django Unchained, 2013, directed by Quentin Tarantino. It is clear how Sweetback has influenced these white directors to create these politically charged and fueled personas.
You don't seem to understand. I'm your new sheriff. I was your new deputy.
A couple of jokers.
Let me handle this nigga any way I see fit. He's your nigga.
Mr. Stone Cipher? That Marshall and the bitches send D'Artagnan to nigga heaven.
Blackula was directed by William Crane in 1972. It was adapted from the Dracula novel by author Bram Stoker. It tells the story of Manu Walde, who was a prince of Africa, who transformed into a vampire by Dracula in 1780. Mama Walde becomes Blackula and is released into 1972 Los Angeles, whilst at the same time showing institutional resistance as Blackula fights against the corrupt police officer system. Blacklear conveys themes that show the black male as a savage, also a hyper-masculine creature. Success at the box office resulted in other black film horrors such as Scream Black with the Scream and also Blackenstein, both released in 1973. Coffee was directed by Jack Hill with a budget of only $500,000. The music was composed by Roy Ayers, and the narrative follows one woman vigilante going after drug dealers that got her sister addicted to crack cocaine. Black female vigilante Coffee, played by Pam Grier, is also known for other notable blaxploitation roles in Foxy Brown.
Get down on the floor where you belong, you no good, dirty nigger bitch!
You're luckier than most people that gotta go out. This is just about the nicest way to do it.
Yeah. I just want you to know that, personally, I think it's a damn shame to let a good piece like you go to waste.
Thanks, I do too. Especially when I think of all the fun I could have had with a good-looking stud like you.
Throughout the film, Coffee uses her sexual prowess to seduce the criminals into getting out of various dangerous situations. This has been frowned upon as a feminist representation, as it is suggestive that her power is only relative in her sexual aesthetic. You get me?
You want to spit on me and make me crawl? I'm gonna piss on your grave tomorrow.
Baby. You gotta understand, I thought you were dead.
After a generation of struggle changed the face of our nation, African Americans entered the 70s with newfound hope.
I am somebody!
Vibrant leaders emerged and black culture reached its high point, influencing all facets of American life. But progress slowed in the decades that followed. Black culture began to lose its distinctive flavor. And as the millennium drew to a close, disaster struck. These seemingly random events were in fact orchestrated by the man, a villain obsessed with turning back the clock on race relations. Just when it seemed the funky spirit of the 70s would be lost forever, a new hero emerged. His name, Undercover Brother.
Pootie Tang, baby. Come on. Bow Town, baby.
Yay, Pootie Tang.
Dirty D, you a batty daddy lammet.
It's a great day for black people of all races.
Morning, good morning.
Think about it.
I've thought long and hard about how I can best serve my country now that I'm no longer in uniform. Well, today, I am proud to announce that I will be opening a chain of fried chicken restaurants.
General Belgrade. General Belgrade, please, over here.
Yes, sir.
So, you're passing up a chance to be president, to open a chicken joint.
A man like me doesn't have any business in politics. They say you should always do what you know.
The contemporary blaxploitation films turned the films into a parody, though often borrowing stylistic themes from differing genres such as horror, crime, or action. We saw how blaxploitation films have transformed into a hybrid genre.
Opening a brand new nationwide chain of burger stands. Pooty's Bad Time Burger. Matter of fact, the only thing that could mess up our little party is if the real Pooty showed up.
Though this hybridity was already part of the subject genre in the 70s, the blend of genres is now more evident and clear for spectators to see.
As you can see, the General is totally under our control.
Me catch your black ass in the news again, you hear me? I want you to blend in.
Chiefy baby, I'm a master of disguises. I can blend in like a good weave.
Say, where's that caddy? I don't know. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, man, Rasta.
Here are some more examples of how stylistically Black Dynamite and Undercover Brother borrow from other genres. Game of Death is clearly a reference to it, as Black Dynamite swings the nunchaku, relaying a sense of warped nostalgia.
Motown.
Come on, you don't want to mess with me, man.
Black Dynamite, that was the best loving I ever had.
Me too. That goes triple for me.
Mama, you gonna wake up the rest of the bitches.
Racial stereotype is an important part of these films, integral in relaying the subject matter of oppression, segregation, and racism.
I see white people. It's too much! Too much! Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! Caucasian overload! Caucasian!
Free. That's too much white for one brother to take.
You did good. We need to make sure the process worked. So I called in an expert on white culture.
In season 3 of Friends.
Sarate. I used to work for the Pentagon. Now I help you to get your chicken on. And for a limited time only, order a 8-piece nappy meal and get a 32-ounce malt liquor absolutely free.
You be buying.
Music plays a major role in blaxploitation films. They are often scores created by black musicians and artists who work with the director in creating a unique sounding piece, which sometimes exhibits lyrics about the protagonist and their journey. In this example, we see the parodic nature of the general singing a funk shaking song, whilst Pootie Tang partakes in a cringe R&B slow jam to conclude his film. The use of music is so important as it creates a sense of personality, matching the music with the social matters at hand. Blaxploitation films offer black actors the opportunity to demonstrate their talents and capability of acting in a leading role, as well as exhibiting that black filmmakers can make successful films. The portrayal of blacks in films remain in majority stereotypical, with exception to protagonists. The characters encountered are often Uncle Tom / house niggas or criminals and prostitutes. There is still not as much a variety of character types to play for the African American as there are for white Americans, as it seems the same representations of blacks are being repeated in the industry. Because of this, I believe there's still a long way to go in terms of positive representations of African Americans for male and female roles. In conclusion, I would say that though there have been vast developments in the representation of black stories and narratives coming through in the film industry, the parodic sense of the blaxploitation genre means to me that it has lost the seriousness of its message, as it was meant to be the beginning of a critical change in social and political history, where blacks were telling their own stories. Few black actors and filmmakers have the opportunities granted that their white colleagues do, and when they do create a story about their lives, it is boxed in and bracketed as not part of the conventional film label of Hollywood, and is given its own derogative name to be matched with exploitation, as if the black community hasn't been exploited enough worldwide. Thank you for listening.
Beat me up, Scotty. Beat me up, Scotty.
Whipping excursion. I gotta pick up that person. In the trap, tripping that working. You're not a gangster, you're just an internet version. Flipping that Wurzel. You know me, got the littlest circle. Missus in the crib, you know I'm keeping that fertile. We don't take pictures, you know I'm keeping that personal. White so clean, You know I'm flipping that parcel. Yes. Soon being $1 million man. Like I'm living with Virgil. Real shit. Seen a little rehearsal. Big gun like Rick. It's like I'm living with Herschel. Gangster, gangster.